Hey YouTube, it's your girl Naya, and God is back with a word, y'all. God is back with the word. This one might be a little long just because I had to meditate a lot on this word. And the way God gave it to me, he kept giving me like the same confirmations over and over and over. And then I finally just sat down with God and he kind of just like gave me like the whole thing and put it all together for us. So I'm gonna be going back and forth from my notes to my notebook. So if I'm looking down, that's why. So the title of this message is "The Rose is About to Bloom in Full Effect." Now y'all know spring is right around the corner, so God has been giving me the word bloom a lot, and he's been showing me images and pictures and even in person roses. So God has been speaking to me a lot about roses. Okay, so roses and the color red itself signifies love, passion, romance, and even blood. And that's not in a bad sense. So I kind of asked God, like, what does that actually mean? Like, what is the rose is about to bloom in full effect? Like, what does that actually mean? So when God was giving it to me, when he was giving me the download, he kind of just explained to me that the word bloom and then the rose. So it's kind of like a metaphor, honestly. So it was like God saying like a new cycle is about to begin and also spring forth. So y'all know a rose or even any type of plant, it has to take root first. God was very adamant about the fact that he placed a lot of us in wilderness seasons in order for us to take root into our assignments and be able to learn what our purposes was, be able to learn the tools and necessary character traits that he needed us to learn in order for us to go to the next level in our kingdom assignments, right? And I'm gonna go deeper into that, further into the word, but I ask that y'all actually just pray and ask God if this is a right now word for you, if this is your word for your particular season. Everybody's in different stages and different levels and different seasons of their lives. So I don't want you to get confused in what season you are in particular. So I don't want you to lose your faith in whatever God has you placed in right now. So just make sure y'all do that. And yeah, let's go ahead and dive right into the word. This is kind of gonna be a lot, y'all. I'm not even lying. Okay, so the message for today, I have my laptop right here, which is why I'm gonna be looking down a lot. The rose is about to bloom in full effect. And God is saying, what was deemed as dead or shown no signs of movement or growth has now been given permission to spring forth into physical manifestation. So y'all know spring is near. Y'all see plants, y'all see the grass turning back green. Everything is coming back into full effect, like how it originally was, right? And so God is now saying this process needed time to develop and complete its many stages of development in order to achieve a certain level of sustainability that I require for you. So that's what God is saying. And he says, there were character traits and habits that I needed to instill in you, and it required a specific amount of time for those traits and godly habits to be developed and to take root into your mind, heart, and spirit. This wasn't a process that I wanted to rush, or else you wouldn't have learned the necessary skills and tools that were required for your God-ordained assignment. This part was the tedious part of the entire process. It was the very beginning of your assignment and by far one of the most important parts of your journey because you learned your true purpose and you gained knowledge as to what your spiritual gifts were. You learned to seek your identity in Christ and not of the worldly things. Your roots needed to be solid, durable, and resilient. You needed to be first and foremost rooted in Christ as your firm foundation. The time has come where the preparation finally meets the manifestation. At the end it says #blooming season, okay? Blooming season. So when God was giving me this download, this message, he also mentioned to me photosynthesis. And a lot of y'all probably already know what this was. I think you learned this like in probably middle school or grade school or high school. I don't know. I don't remember when I learned this. I feel like I learned this like in middle school. Basically, photosynthesis is the process by which green plants and certain other organisms transform light energy into chemical energy. Photosynthesis is critical for the existence of the vast majority of life on Earth, okay? It is the way in which virtually all energy in the biosphere becomes available to living things. So God was kind of like comparing photosynthesis to our process in which we had to develop and take root into the things that he needed us to start off with first and foremost in order for us to go to the next level in our kingdom assignments, right? And this can also apply, well, this is applying to our kingdom marriages, our kingdom businesses that God has been having us work on. I know for like me, God called me to do a lot of different things in order to prepare me for what he needs me to do next. So basically for me, God had me working at a specific job where I had to learn specific tools that were going to be necessary for the business that God is trying to have me start. And also when God, during the separation of me and my kingdom spouse, God had me specifically working on healing a lot of past trauma and healing those wounds in me so that I can become a better person, a better individual, so that once it is time for us to come together, we don't have to worry about the things that we were, previously would have had to be worrying about had we not had that separation happen. So I know a lot of y'all get impatient and y'all just be like, God, can this just come on? Like, can this just happen? Can I finally meet my person? But you got to realize that everything happens in God's perfect divine timing. And you just got to take a step back and realize that, okay, well, if this was ready to happen now, it would have happened now. If God wanted it to happen now, it would happen now. So obviously there's still things that God needs to teach me and teach that other individual so that when the time is right, we can be ready for both of each other. So you got to like kind of take a different perspective into why God is having you wait longer. And then also you got to commune with God so that God can give you instructions and also talk to you about your specific journey and what he needs you to do in your waiting season. So right now God is having me working on the business. So everything is definitely happening in the timely manner as it should. So don't feel like just because it hasn't happened yet, there's nothing for you to be doing. It's always something for you to be doing. And even sometimes, like previously, like I said, y'all, I was going for a while because God had called me into a season of rest where it didn't feel like I was doing anything at all. And sometimes that kind of bothered me because I was always so used to doing something. So when God called me to rest and just focus on myself and just focus on healing a lot of things and extracting a lot of things that no longer were needed and where I was going, it definitely hurt, but it was definitely necessary. So ask God, what is it that he needs you to be doing in this specific time? What is it that you can be doing with yourself? This definitely helped me transform my mind, especially on my kingdom marriage, because I was just always focused on it like 100, not even 100%, but majority of the time of the day, to where I wasn't putting my focus on the things that God needed me to do right now so that when the time comes for us to come together, I can be prepared and I can be ready. Because God is having them working on the things they need to be working on. And yeah, they probably are thinking about it, but we got to realize, like, don't idolize the promise. Like, don't idolize what God is trying to give you, because you're going to focus on that more than you need to be focused on God and what God is trying to do through you as an individual. Like, you got to worry about that first, and then when that time comes for y'all to come together, y'all two can come together and do the kingdom assignment together. But first, you got to get your part of the kingdom assignment done and commune with God to know what that is. And you got to do your part so that once that time comes, y'all can do y'all part together. So next, God wanted me to show y'all my flowers. So for Christmas, I'm going to just give y'all a background story. Let me get the plant right. So for Christmas, my auntie had bought me a plant. It came in this little jar right here with the little pebbles. And then it came, this is how it looks right now, y'all. It looked a little bit better, but I'm just letting them just die off. Basically, this was a narcissus, I think daffodil plant. And so basically, she got me this plant for Christmas, and it was supposed to bloom, but I had overly watered it, and it never like got flowers or anything. It just was like green plants growing. And so I'm like, I know something is not right. Like, I know it's not right. I know it's not supposed to look like this. It's supposed to have flowers. And so me and my auntie, we were doing a lot of research. We were trying to figure out like what's going on. Like, why does it not have flowers? So I ended up figuring out that the reason it didn't have flowers was because I was overly watering it, because I didn't have enough information to know how to take care of it. So as you can see, I'm letting the roots die off. I don't even know if y'all can see. I'm not supposed to touch the roots, but if you can see, the roots are literally drying out, and I was kind of sad about it. I actually named this plant Joy. So I named this plant Joy when I first got it, and now it's just dying off. I gotta let it die. It's not even in season anymore. This is like a fall and winter plant. It's like a house plant. You just put it in water and it grows on its own. As easy as that sounds, I literally messed it up by overwatering it, and I didn't even know until I actually researched it and gained knowledge and understanding on how to take care of this plant. So without, we're past that now. So this was my very first plant, and I named it Joy. Now God has given me this word, and it just all like comes together. So I'm gonna show y'all my second one. So I just got a new plant. My auntie bought me another plant, which is a hyacinth plant. It's an indoor house plant that you can grow. All you need to do is put it in the sun each and every day, I think, and it grows on its own. You really don't have to put too much water in it. You don't have to put too much care into it or thought into it. So this is my new plant. So this is my very new plant, y'all. It's a beauty. I named her Beauty. It's just so freaking pretty. Okay, so that was my new plant. Her name is Beauty. I just got this plant Friday, like this past Friday that just passed, sometime in February. I just got this plant, and look at this, y'all. When I first got this plant, it was literally all green. It didn't have any flowers on it, and it's blooming so quickly. Like, God wanted me to talk about this in this video, particularly because God has been talking to me a lot about blooming season and the springtime, and also roses. So God has been like kind of comparing our journey to plants. Like, in a sense, like we had to take root and we have to gain a firm foundation in Christ in order for us to go to that next level. So y'all know, like when you grow a bulb, a plant bulb, and you have to grow that first. Okay, so I'm gonna show y'all this. So y'all see the bulb right here? That is the bulb. When you grow a bulb, it's so tiny and it has roots at the bottom. So these roots right here is what feeds the plant, right? So without these roots, there will be no plant, because the plant is what absorbs the water in order for the plants to eat, in order for the plants to stay alive. That's kind of like our individual journeys, right? So we had to grow our own roots and gain knowledge on our kingdom assignments, grow in our purposes first, get stronger. We had to allow God to be our firm foundation. We had to get rid of a lot of beliefs and a lot of things that we were taught growing up. We had to heal a lot of things, get rid of the toxicity in our lives. And so that was the very beginning of our journeys, is growing our roots. And God is really like comparing our journeys to plants. Like, in a sense, it's very similar. Like, plants have roots. That is the main source of how the plants stay alive. Without the roots, there will be no sustainability, and the plants cannot ever grow. They can't get the water. So God wanted me to show you all the plants because it was kind of like a correlation there. And also, God was talking to me about the color red, because God had been showing me a lot of roses. This is a very specific part of the word, so take this back to God. A lot of y'all can be looking to start a new season or go into a new season or another level. This could be spiritually, this could be physically, this could be business-wise, this could be financially. You can be looking to come into a new or starting a new cycle. Something new in your life will be coming forth in this season, this spring season. So God has been talking about the word blooming. God has been talking about the word springing forward, like the season spring. So y'all can be looking to start a new cycle, start a new season in this spring. So go back to God and get more inside knowledge, because that's not a for everybody word, but also that could apply to kingdom marriage as well. That is very, very specific, and I do not want any and everybody just taking that and running with it. So go back to God and see if that was for you, because it's not for everybody. And so yeah. Also, when God was talking about the color red, he mentioned blood. So I was reading my Bible last night, and God had like kind of explained to me the color red and blood. So Christ's love and passion for us was shown through his crucifixion in blood. His blood is what saved us, redeemed us, and granted us grace and second chances. So that is kind of like in correlation to kingdom marriages. God is allowing them to redeem themselves, them to come back, and allow us to give them a second chance, so that we can do this the right way. Whatever it is that caused y'all to separate, God is giving this individual a second chance to do right this time and to, step into their purpose as well. So we already talked about this. We already talked about what we're supposed to be doing when they come back, how we're supposed to receive them. We've already been talking about that. So y'all kind of already have knowledge on what it is that God needs you to say to this individual when they do come back after a separation. And I really do want y'all to believe that this is going to happen. I know a lot of people has been talking about like, okay, well, if this doesn't happen, then God is going to give me a new person. Honestly, I'm going to be very honest and transparent with y'all. I really don't believe that this person won't answer the call in our life. Only reason I say that is because God would not give you an individual if he knew that they were going to answer the call. God knows everything is already predestined. Like, God has already predestined your assignment. God has already predestined your decisions. Like, God has already made room for you to make your own mistakes and everything, but he already knows how it's going to play out in the end. Like, that's why I don't really believe that God would give you a person and then they does not answer the calling of the assignment that he's placed over their lives. Like, it just doesn't make sense. So I really don't believe that God is going to be like, okay, well, they didn't answer the call, so I'm going to give you a new person. Like, I don't believe that will happen. Now, I do know that people do, get married to people who they probably shouldn't have been married to, and then God shows them who their actual God-ordained spouse is. Now, that is possible, but I don't believe that God is going to allow you to, he's going to actually give you an ordained godly spouse and then be like, nah, they didn't answer the call in their life, so we can move on. I'm gonna give you a new person. Like, I don't really think that's gonna happen. So with that said, pray on that, but that's just my own little take on it. I don't really think God would do that to you. So also God mentioned a woman's cycle. So bloodshed again. I wrote down, God kind of just had me research this a little bit. I already know because I'm a woman. So about every 30 days and every time this cycle occurs, the uterus sheds its lining and is passed along with blood out of the body through the vaginal area. And this is signifying shedding off the old and releasing the dead weight. So, when God had us in our wilderness seasons, God had a lot of us just diving deep within. Like, literally, it was hard, y'all. I know a lot of y'all can relate. Like, the spiritual warfare was definitely at an all-time high when I was in my wilderness season, and even like coming out of it, it was kind of hard to adjust. So God is kind of like correlating that to a lot of our wilderness journeys. Like, I know some of people, y'all be looking at y'all kingdom spouses like, well, it just seems like they out here having fun. I'm out here the one struggling. I'm the one here alone going through the process by myself. But I really do want y'all to believe that we're not just going through this alone. Just because people don't show their emotions or show what they're actually going through does not mean they're not going through things. I had to learn this for myself because at some point in time, I felt like I was the only one doing this. And I can definitely feel that a lot of these kingdom spouses are definitely going through a lot emotionally. And that's why God wouldn't tell us to receive them the way that he wants us to receive them if it wasn't true. God would not be telling us to receive them with compassion, love, patience, and all the fruit of the spirit character traits if we didn't need to. Like, you know what I mean? So really do take heed to the instructions God has given you in this season, because it's there for a reason. God wouldn't tell us to do a certain thing if it wasn't going to be important and make sense in the end, if y'all get what I'm trying to say. Okay, so next in this word, God wanted me to talk about Beauty and the Beast. So God had me watch the movie Beauty and the Beast. I have watched this movie a couple of different times in the last few months, but this time God specifically had me watch the 2017 version, which is actually the real life version of Beauty and the Beast. And then this one, it's so weird, y'all, because y'all know God has been talking to me about the roses. And in the movie, they used a rose. I'm not exactly sure if in the original they used an exact rose or if it was just a regular flower. But I know in the regular beauty, in the 2017 version, they used the actual rose. And the rose was being shown a lot in this movie because in the beginning, she asked her dad to bring her back a rose. That was just like very significant in the movie. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started on what I took from the movie. Okay, so as y'all know, in Beauty and the Beast, it's about a girl and her dad. Basically, she asked her dad to get her a rose. Her dad went on the journey. He was going to the store, but he got lost because he entered what do I even want to call it? It was like a winter storm because the curse had been placed on the beast. The curse was placed on the beast because he was I believe it has something to do with, I believe whoever placed the curse on him, it was a woman. The woman was like asking him for something. I think it was like, I don't remember what it was, y'all. I'm going to be honest. I really don't remember what it was. It was like a couple days ago when I watched the movie, and I really didn't write down every single detail. Y'all gonna have to just go watch it. She asked the beast for something. She looked like she was homeless, and he was just like, nah, get away from here. She placed the curse on him. She was actually like a really pretty woman, but she just wanted to test his character, I guess. So she placed the curse on him, and not only him, but everybody in his house. So she placed the curse like on everything around him, everybody who was in the house. A curse was placed on them. So he turned into a beast instead of a prince. And then also everybody in the house turned into like objects instead of people. Like it was a piano, it was a clothing wardrobe lady, and then there was a teacup, and then there was Chip, which was the teacup son. And it was just like really interesting. So I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all watched that movie before. Okay, so the thing, I'm gonna just give y'all my notes from what I took from the movie. So Belle was used as the sacrifice for her dad. She willingly gave up her own life to get her dad out of jail, basically. Once the beast caught her dad taking the flower, he was literally about to leave. He was about to dip up out of there once he seen the beast, and he got caught by the beast. And so the beast put him in jail. And so Belle found out where he was at. The horse went back for Belle so that she could save her dad. So basically, once Belle got there, she was like, no, my dad is already sick. He's getting old. So she was like, I'm going to give up my life for my dad. So she was willing to save her dad. No questions asked. So the beast was like, you about to give up your whole life for this man? So he was like, basically, like, he thought she was a little dumb for that. But I mean, she had to do what she had to do to get her dad out. She literally told him that she's not letting him stay in jail. She's going to do it herself. She's going to pay the price. She's going to do it all. She sacrificed her own life for her family. Basically, this can relate to us. Like, God knew who he was going to specifically choose to hold this mantle of kingdom marriage, okay? So God chose a lot of women. I know a lot of y'all always see women, but there are men who God chose to stand as well and to sacrifice their own desires to do what God has called them to do. So there's not only women standing out here, there's men as well who's standing for their kingdom marriages. So I just want y'all to know that God specifically chose you to be there standing for a kingdom marriage. He didn't do that like it just didn't happen as a coincidence. God literally chose you because he knew that you were going to be strong enough to do what he's called you to do. He knew that you was going to be resilient enough. He knew that you were going to be obedient enough. So don't just think that you're just there standing and God doesn't care. Like, God chose you because he knew that you would be able to stand. He knew that your faith was going to be tested, and he knew that you were going to be the one standing in the end. I told y'all everything is planned out accordingly to God's perfect will. God already had a plan from the start. Like, God created you. Before you even created, there was a plan over your life. Okay, so next I wanted to point out the fact that Belle was not afraid of the beast, okay? She was not intimidated by him. She was not scared of him. Even when she first seen him, she told him to come in the light. Like, let me see your face. He was very, like, kind of very prideful, very egotistical. Y'all, this can relate to our kingdom spouses. Y'all, me specifically, my kingdom spouse is very prideful, has a big ego. So a lot of y'all can probably relate. Like, they're very good people. They're very good men, but they also had to do inner work. Like, just like us, God had to soften their hearts. God had to soften their hearts. Like, all that pride, leave it at the door, okay? Because the way the beast was talking to Belle, I was like, God, I don't know how she did it. I don't know how she did it. His mouth was very, very reckless in the beginning, okay? Belle was not afraid of the beast. In fact, she unintentionally challenged him the most intellectually to grow his faith. Y'all know when y'all first were introduced to your spouses, God probably has you say things to this individual and probably do certain things so that their spirit would know who you are. And you probably didn't even realize the things that you were saying or the things that you did would make a huge impact like they are about to now. God intentionally had us do those things so that they would know who we are to them. Eventually, they probably didn't know at the time, but in a certain, at the right appointed time, they'll understand, like, dang, and you said this, you did this, and now I understand why. So, you know what I mean? Everything happened the way it was supposed to happen. Even if you feel like you made mistakes, everything happened the way it was supposed to happen. And y'all, it took me a long time to even learn that for myself specifically, because I feel like dang God, what if I would have said this instead? Or what if I would have did this instead? Maybe we wouldn't be here. Maybe we wouldn't be in a separation. But everything happens the way it's supposed to happen, whether you think it was a mistake or not. Everything happens for a reason. I don't think anything happens by coincidence. I think it's a reason behind everything. And if God wanted it to happen, it's going to happen. So God does allow certain things to happen so that we can grow in our faith. So life is not perfect. God never promised us happiness, but he did promise us joy. So just because things happen that you don't, particularly like, that doesn't mean to beat yourself up about it or also blame God, because everything is there to test our faith and to grow our faith in the end. So you got to just learn how to shift your perspectives and not always look at things happening to you, but things happening for you. So just learn how to shift your perspective in situations, and you'll be better off, and you'll be able to be more positive in a bad situation. The beast had a very hard heart purposely, though. He had a curse placed on him. So for that particular reason, he became very bitter and very mean, almost like he was very mean. And I don't even think he was trying to be, but his temper would start to be very bad, because I feel like the situation that he was placed in was a very unfortunate situation. And he just, I don't know, he became very bitter. But Bel was the very thing he needed to soften his heart and make him believe in true love again. Y'all know Bel was literally the only thing that was able to soften his heart and make him feel like he's loved. So a lot of women that God has placed in these kingdom assignment roles, we are the very reason and the very thing that can soften these men's heart. Like no other counterfeit, no other woman can do what we can do, because God placed us, God gave us the job to fulfill that spot. Like God gave us the character traits, the things in us are specifically made for this specific man. So you can't just go out here and try to do what you've been called to do for your man, for someone else's man, because you're not placed here for that person. You're placed here for your person specifically, for y'all to fulfill a specific kingdom assignment. So in order for y'all to fulfill this assignment, y'all have to love each other like God is calling you to love this individual. So yeah, that's kind of like how Bel in the beast was. Like she was the only person that could soften this beast's heart. His heart was so hard, y'all. He was very bitter. He was very mean. He was very angry all the time. Like if y'all seen his room, it was just mess everywhere because he had a very bad temper. So yes, I want y'all to go watch that movie so y'all can actually look at the little details and put the pieces together for your own kingdom assignment or your own kingdom marriage, so that y'all can better understand these men, because that was kind of like the men's perspective. Like a lot of these men probably didn't grow up with a dad in the household. A lot of them probably grew up with just a mom, or vice versa. So a lot of them didn't learn the same things. Y'all know, as women, we learn things at a very young age, like how to take care of a home, how to take care of kids. Especially if you're an older sibling, you know how to take care of kids, you know how to cook, you know how to clean. You learn all these womanly things at a very young age. And a lot of men who didn't have dads in the house, they didn't get to learn these things at a very young age. So when they got older, they were just experimenting, doing whatever they wanted to do, because they had no one there to teach them and be a role model as to what that looks like as a man, So I feel like in this generation specifically, women learn things at a much faster rate. That's why they always say that women are more mature than men, because we learn things at a very young age and we learn things very quickly. It's easy. We can hold a lot. And so that's why God specifically created women the way he created us. We're created here for a reason. We're supposed to be their helpmate. As much as a lot of people are out here I don't need a man. That's because a lot of people become very bitter when they can't find the right person. A lot of people if more people will go to God and ask God to show them what it is in them that they need to work on so that they can meet, the right person for themselves, it will be a lot less people out here bitter and turned off by marriage and turned off by kingdom marriages. A lot of people are so turned off by kingdom marriages for no reason, because they don't have any knowledge as to how important it actually is and how much it actually matters, and how much of an impact that they can make. It's so many marriages out here that's making so much good impact on these people out here. Y'all don't know how much power two people can really truly have until you experience it for yourself. Especially when the love is genuine and when it's a godly agape love, it hits different. It totally hits on a different level. So I feel like everybody should experience that. Like, I wish that on everybody. Like, I would love to see more marriages out here instead of people wanting to obligate. Like, it's literally women out here obligating to just be a girlfriend because they don't believe in marriage. And honestly, I just feel like I would love to see more women believe in love again and grow their faith and, you know, just believing in love. Like, it can happen for them. I want more people to see that this is possible for you. Like, this is definitely a thing that you can have. You just have to seek it in the correct manner, and you have to become the right person that you're called to be in order for you to get the person that you deserve, right? And the person that wants to be with you as well. So yeah, y'all, I just have to say that. I have to get that from my spirit. The movie The Rose was a very specific and significant object that was used. Belle, I believe when her mother, they did the flashback, the beast took her to Paris, and her mother was very sick. I think she had like a plague and she had like a rose in her hand or something like that. Or Belle had a rose. I don't know. It was something about roses that Belle really loved. So I may have to do a little bit more research on that because it was very particular. Like, she loved roses. Okay, so I also had the beast ended up loving Belle, and he realized that the whole time he had been keeping her as a prisoner. So he decided to let her go visit her dad. He decided to let her go. He decided to give up his future of becoming a human again just so that she could be reunited with her dad. He didn't think he would ever be enough for her. The beast was very insecure and he wasn't sure if she ever come back for him. So y'all know when Belle was missing her dad, the beast was like, do you want to see him? So when he gave her the mirror, she seen her dad. He was being attacked, I believe, because the people like in the town, Gaston, he was like belittling her dad, Maurice. And he was like calling him crazy, calling him insane, saying he had a mental illness, basically trying to place him, I think, in jail or a mental institution, something like that, y'all. But basically they were thinking that he was crazy because the beast, he was talking about he seen the beast and he was locked up by a beast. So they was thinking he was crazy and he was old, he was insane. So Belle was like, oh, I need to go get my dad. I gotta go rescue him. The beast was like, okay, I'm gonna let you go. Like, you don't have to stay here. Like, you can go. So she was like, are you sure or whatever? So he let her go. The beast didn't really want to, but he knew that he really did love her. Like, he truly grew to love her. So he decided to let her go. This can also relate to kingdom marriages as well, y'all. I know for a lot of us, especially if the guy left, the guy was, you know, the reason of the separation, the guy just, maybe you were ghosted, maybe he just up and left, maybe he decided to tell you like he wanted to break things off, maybe he told you something, maybe, you know, it just didn't happen how you expected it to happen, maybe you feel like it could happen a different way. We've all been there, we've all had that happen. If we're here right now, if we've been caught in a separation, so I know it doesn't seem like it, but honestly, God had to tell me that your kingdom spouse was not a bad person for doing what they did. Maybe, yes, the decision they made was not a good decision, but it does not make them a bad person. It doesn't make their character bad. It's just they had to learn things for themselves and they had to grow into who God called them to be in order for them to treat you how you needed to be treated. Not saying that their actions were justifiable at all, and not saying that the decision they made can be excused, but it also does mean that we're all individuals trying to grow and trying to learn and trying to better ourselves. So don't take it out on them and take it more so out on call a mistake. Like, that's it. That's all. It doesn't need to be talked about over and over and over. The mistake has already been done. We can't go back in the past. So just move forward and forgive. So yeah, the beast let Belle go. He wasn't sure if she'd ever even come back. He wasn't sure like if he'd ever see her again. But she did eventually come back. She didn't have any plans of being like malicious towards him or trying to lock him up or anything, because she liked him as well. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that to light because that can also pertain to you guys' separation. I don't know how y'all separation happened or if you ever even experienced that, but if you have experienced separation, you can go back and watch that movie and see kind of like how that played out. and what instructions or what God wants to tell you further into detail as to your separation, if that makes sense. Okay, so I want to talk about the fact that Gaston and the rest of the village was definitely talking about Belle's dad, and they were belittling him and calling him crazy and insane. So the village, I want to talk about the fact that the village challenged Maurice's beliefs in the truth, which was, you know, Belle's dad. His name was Maurice. They thought was making up the fact that he's seen the beast, and also they thought that he was using sorcery and black magic. Oh, also Belle. They thought Belle and Maurice were using black magic and sorcery because they brung back that mirror that the beast had gave her. So she was able to see the beast. She showed them like the mirror, and they seen the beast, and they were like, oh my God, this is black magic, this is sorcery. And so they locked Maurice and Belle up because they thought they were crazy for believing the beast could be real. So this, y'all, when I seen this part, I was like, oh my God, that's literally like how, like, I know a lot of y'all have experienced people around y'all telling y'all like what God told you wasn't real, what God told you, like, you know what I mean, keep your options open. Why do you want to get married? You probably heard all types of things people tried to tell you and challenge your beliefs into what God told you was true about your own kingdom marriage. That's why it's so imperative that we keep our mouths closed. As hard as it is, y'all, I'm not saying that's an easy thing to do, so you need to ask God for the strength to do it, but keep your mouth closed when God brings your kingdom marriage together, or whatever God is doing in your life. Keep your mouth closed until it's time to talk about it to somebody, or either if God does allow you to talk about it with people who you can truly trust and who you've tested the spirit with, and ask God, like, can I trust this person? Because a lot of people are very envious, and a lot of people does not have your best intentions at heart. Even though you probably can't see it, God can see what you can't see, and God can hear things that you can't hear. So keep y'all mouths closed, because if people ain't got it for themselves, they ain't gonna want nobody else around them to have it. So some people are like that, and you probably not even knowing. Gaston and the village were out to kill the beast and get rid of him so he could marry Belle for himself, for his own selfish reasons. Honestly, I really don't even feel like Gaston liked Belle that much. I really just think it was all for show, and so that other people can see that he has a pretty girl. Like, I really don't think he really cared for her like that, but he just wanted everybody else to see. Like, he was very prideful. If you seen in the beginning, he was always looking into mirrors, boosting himself up. He was very egotistical as well. So yeah, after they had found out about the whole beast situation, they were out to kill the beast. You know, when Gaston and the beast were fighting, the beast was really letting Gaston get his hits off, honestly. Like, he was just like, if Belle isn't here, I really don't care. Like, just do it now, honestly. The beast was really just not caring. But then when he seen Belle, he was like, oh no, like, you ain't finna kill me now. Like, I gotta get to my girl. Like, you know what I mean? That's kind of like signifying our kingdom spouses spiritual warfare. Like, the journey that they had to go on was a journey that we probably definitely won't understand until they come back and let us know like everything they went through. But like, the spiritual warfare was probably definitely insane. I felt it like to a certain level. Of course, like, I kind of felt when the spiritual warfare was high. I don't know, y'all. It's just like, y'all got to give them grace, honestly. Like, we're all human. We all make mistakes. Y'all know, like, when God called us into our wilderness seasons, you probably weren't talking to a lot of the people that you usually were talking to because you were going through a lot. So you kind of just gotta, that's why I said, like in the last video, we kind of got to really work on forgiving and letting stuff be in the past. Y'all know people love saying forgive, but don't forget. I'm not going to say just excuse people's behavior, but if you just sit there with all that in your mind, replaying over and over, it's going to get to a point to where it's very bad for your mental health. So honestly, I do recommend like literally forgiving and moving on. Like, saying that like, I'm not going to keep letting this take over me, take over my health, and taking over the things that I need to do. Because if you just keep letting stuff replay in your head, it's going to take you over. Like, it's going to keep replaying over your head. The enemy is going to use it at his own benefit, and you're never going to be able to grow in your relationship with your person and even with God, because you're harboring things that God wants you to let go of. God didn't tell you to forgive or don't forget. That's the world's version of forgiving. That's not true forgiveness. If you're sitting there like, yeah, I forgave you, but I'm not going to forget about it. And you keep bringing it up over and over and over. That's not truly forgiving. And I know that I'm a victim of that as well. Like I usually like, I forgive this person, and then I'm like, okay, but I still remember you did this, you did that, you did that. I've been working on that as well. So like I said, we're all a work in progress. And if you need therapy, please seek counseling, from a Christian perspective, a biblical perspective. Please be sure that, I'm going to advise, if you do try therapy, if you do try counseling, please be sure that the guidance and the wisdom that this person is giving you is definitely biblical, because you don't want to be getting worldly advice and then also trying to apply godly advice to your life, because you're going to get confused. And someone who can help me grow in my own faith than someone that, probably doesn't know really too much about the Bible, trying to give me advice as to what I should do, and it's contrary to what God told me to do. So just make sure that you're seeking wisdom and knowledge from people that understand biblical wisdom as well. So I just want to say one more thing before I let y'all go, and then we talk about the scriptures. So everyone in the castle was rooting for Belle. So when she first walked up in there, they was like, oh my gosh, it's a girl. Like, a girl is finally here. She could be the one to save us. She could be the one that can break the curse. So everybody in the house, the teacups, the wardrobe, the piano, they were all rooting for Belle. And they were also heavily relying on Belle to break the curse. Belle carried a mantle of not only helping the beast become a better person and building his faith, but she also carried the responsibility of breaking the curse of the others living in the house. It was more than just the beast's life at stake. Their romance and true love benefited all of those around them. So this is also relating to our own kingdom marriages. So y'all know, like, these kingdom marriages are for us, but it's also for those around us, and also those in the world who need their faith to be built and need to believe in love again. So there's a lot of people out here, like, they don't believe in love, they don't believe in marriages, because they've seen so many bad representations and bad role models of people who then got married and then got divorced and got married and got divorced, and people who got cheated on, and just so many bad representation of what God created for it to be. It's supposed to be beautiful. It's supposed to be like, it's supposed to be surrounded by love, and it's supposed to be beautiful. And the world has really found a way, like, the enemy will really try to find everything that God deems as a perfect work to be just diminished and tore apart. And it's just, we got to rebuild that up. So that's why God is really doing something new, and something that a lot of people just don't understand unless they were called and chosen for it. I mean, a lot of people chose themselves for kingdom marriage, and I know a lot of y'all probably see a lot. That's why y'all got to test the spirit when y'all watch these type of videos, because everybody that's talking about certain things were not chosen or called to be administering in these specific areas. Everybody is not called to do the same thing. Everybody has a different assignment. So just make sure that when you asking God for your own, purpose, for your own kingdom assignment, that it's correlating what he wants for your life and not what you're trying to make for you. But in the movie, Belle was used as the very thing that was going to break the curse. So by Belle and the beast coming together and falling in love, that was what broke the curse of the spell that had been put on the beast. Without her, they would have died that very night. So I just want to remind y'all that what God spoke of your life and the promise that he gave you, it shall come to pass, because it's not only for you and this person, but it's also other people's faith around you is at stake. So it's not only about you, it's not only about this person, it's not only about y'all falling in love just to fall in love. It's about other people gaining faith and gaining an identity in Christ as well. People coming to Christ for themselves as well. By y'all showing y'all love for each other, it's going to make people believe in love. It's going to make people want love again, want godly love and not worldly love. So remember that the next time you just, are in doubt or fearful of what the future holds, remind yourself that anything that God spoke over your life shall come to pass. Okay, so we're going to start off with the parable of the growing seed. And this is NIV version. I'm sorry, y'all. My necklace is just beaming everywhere. So I want to start off with Mark chapter 4, verses 26 through 29. I'm so sorry if I'm blinding y'all with my necklace. Okay, guys, so Mark chapter 4, verses 26 through 29, and it reads, "He also said, 'This is what the kingdom of God is like. A man scatters seed on the ground night and day. Whether he sleeps or gets up, the seed sprouts and grows, though he does not know how. All by itself, the soil produces again. First the stalk, then the head, then the full kernel in the head. As soon as the grain is ripe, he puts the sickle to it because the harvest has come.'" So y'all know we've been talking about plants, we've been talking about roots, we've been talking about spring, things springing forth a new cycle. So a new cycle is about to begin. This is the hour where God is allowing things to spring forth into bloom. So this is blooming season, y'all. Be ready, be prepared for anything to just, what God has been having you work on, be prepared for it to just take off and to just happen suddenly. So don't be like, God has been having me do this thing for so long and I have not been seeing any movement. I haven't been seeing it grow. I haven't been seeing the business take off. I haven't been having any new customers. I haven't been seeing the marriage move. I haven't been seeing the person make any action or take any initiative to make contact with me. Like, be prepared for anything to happen. Y'all, let me just tell y'all from experience. The other day, something so crazy happened to me. I was just like, okay, guys, so you really serious. Like, I know you serious, but you really serious. Because something happened. I can't even really tell y'all what it was. But when I just say be ready, because at any given moment, anything could happen. Like, if God is telling you to be prepared for this person to come back, be prepared. Okay? But it's been a few times where I almost been caught off guard. Like, it's been times where I've been almost caught off guard. And God has really been adamant, like, okay, he's been reminding me, like, God has been giving me, like, little reminders every now and again, like, this is happening. And at this time, like, this is the last reminder that I'm giving you to make sure that you're ready for when this happens. Like, the other day, God gave me a reminder so crisp and so clear, like a physical reminder, y'all, not just one like on a prophetic word, not just one of a picture, not just on social media, but in person. God gave me a reminder, like this can happen right now. So the next time, it's not going to be like a warning. It's going to be happening, and I need you to be ready. So this is a reminder to somebody out there, like, if God has told you that this person is coming back and this person is coming back to make amends and redeem themselves so that y'all can move forward, this is not the time to be playing around. This is not the time to be losing faith. This is not the time to be having doubts. It's not the time to be having fears. This is not the time for you to be playing around and just like, okay, well, this haven't happened in this long, so I'm gonna just do what I want to do. I'm gonna just look how I want to look. No, this is the time for you to be taking this seriously and to be listening to the instructions that God has given you and to be prepared for anything to happen suddenly and to take you by surprise. Because when I say it's going to be a surprise, it's going to take you by surprise. Like, I'm not even kidding y'all. I'm not even the person that's usually not prepared for stuff. But when I tell y'all, the things that has been happening literally lately has been taking me by surprise. So I just need y'all to be prepared and to be ready. So that was the parable of the growing seed. The next one is the death of Jesus. This is Matthew 27, verses 50 through 53. So this one says, "And when Jesus had cried out again in a loud voice, he gave up his spirit. At that moment, the curtain of the temple was torn into two from top to bottom. The earth shook, the rocks split, and the tombs broke open. The bodies of many holy people who had died were raised to life. They came out of the tombs after Jesus' resurrection and went into the holy city and appeared to many people." So this is about resurrection. Like, when Jesus died and he rose again and he was, redeeming the lives of those and saving those souls of those people, God has really been adamant about second chances and redemption. Like, this is the season of second chances and redemption. So be ready and be prepared for whatever God has given you to get another shot at. If God has given you another shot at your relationship with this person, please do take it seriously this time and do it the correct way. Ask God to give you instructions on how you can do this the right way so that y'all can move forward with the things that y'all need to be doing, because it's very important that y'all get started on what God has called y'all to do. It's not only about y'all, it's about the lives of so many others attached to y'all. So many people probably are attached to your ministry. So many people are probably attached to you in person, your family members. Y'all, even though they don't know it yet, they're counting on you. They're counting on y'all. So y'all doing the things the correct way. Please align yourselves with God first and foremost, to do it the godly way so that many other people can be saved. Because that's what it's all about. It's about saving those and getting more people to come to Christ. So let's look at the bigger picture. Okay, so Matthew 7 verses 24 through 27 reads, so it says, the wise and the foolish builders. Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house, yet it did not fall, because it had its foundation on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who built his house on sand. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell with a great crash. So this is very imperative that you allow God to be your firm foundation in this season. This is not the time to be playing around. It's not the time to be getting out of alignment, y'all, because y'all got stuff to do, okay? We all have things that we need to be focusing on in order to get to where we need to be in our kingdom assignments and also grow and step fully into our purpose. For a lot of us, you know, God had us in our wilderness season last year. Probably around this time, you were probably in a wilderness season. I know I definitely was in a wilderness season around this time last year. So this time, it just feels so fresh and new. Like I'm just stepping into so many new things, like not even only kingdom marriage, but also God has been having me working on a specific business venture. So it's just a lot of things that God has been having me focusing on. Also with this ministry, now I'm not working. God is having me, you know, have more videos and take more time out to commune with him so that I can come on here and give y'all words of encouragement and also help grow y'all faith, as well as growing my own faith as well, because it's never a level that you just reached of faith. It's always about growing your faith. So even when we come on here, y'all, and help, you know, encourage y'all, we're still learning things as well. We're never going to be perfect people. So it's all about just growing and building your firm foundation on God first and foremost. Seek first the kingdom of heaven. Matthew 6:33. So yeah, like allow God to be your firm foundation. We've been talking about roots, like root yourself into Christ. That is what's going to be your key, like your major key, like major key alert. Okay. Root yourself in Christ. Allow God to be your firm foundation, and you cannot fail at all. So it says, Zechariah 8 verses 12 to 13, the seed will grow well, and the vine will yield its fruit. The ground will produce its crops, and the heavens will drop their dew. I will give all these things as an inheritance to the remnant of this people, just as you, Judah and Israel, have been a curse among the nations, so will I save you, and you will be a blessing. Do not be afraid, but let your hands be strong. This is God saying, do not be afraid. I have you. I am going to fulfill my promises to you. I am going to be the one who keeps my word to you. What I said, what I spoke to you is going to come to pass. It shall come to pass because I told it to. Okay. And then also we have Zechariah chapter 9 verses 9 through 13. So it says, the coming of Lion's King. Rejoice greatly, daughters Zion. Shout, daughters Jerusalem. See, your king comes to you, righteous and victorious, lowly and riding on a donkey, on a colt, the foal of a donkey. I will take away the chariots from Ephraim and the war horses from Jerusalem, and the battle bow will be broken. He will proclaim peace to the nations. His rule will extend from sea to sea and from the river to the ends of the earth. As for you, because of the blood of my covenant with you, I will free your prisoners from the waterless pit. Return to your fortress, you prisoners of hope. Even now I announce that I will restore twice as much to you. I will bend Judah as I bend my bow and fill it with Ephraim. I will bruise your sons, Zion, against your sons, Greece, and make you like a warrior's sword. That was just kind of like explaining, like, it says the coming of Lion's King. So this is like a reminder for y'all who's just been waiting, y'all been standing. God is kind of like reminding y'all, like, the king is coming, baby. My queen, your king is coming, okay? Your king is coming, and he's coming for you, okay? Find joy in the waiting. It'll be over soon. It doesn't last forever, okay? That's why it's called waiting, because eventually it's going to come, okay? So next is Y'all, I always struggle to say this word, Habakkuk. I don't know how to say it, y'all, but I'm gonna just put the verses down here and I'll put it on the screen too. I think it's Habakkuk. I don't know how to pronounce, but we're in chapter 1, verses 5 through 11. I gotta hurry up because I gotta leave soon. Look at the nations and watch and be utterly amazed, for I am going to do something in your days that you would not believe even if you were told. So it's just verses 5, sorry. So now we're gonna go to chapter 2, and it's going to be verses 2 through 11. So it says, then the Lord replied, write down the revelation and make it plain on tablets so that a herald may run with it. For the revelation awaits an appointed time. It speaks of the end and it will not prove false. Though it linger, wait for it. It will certainly come and it will not delay. So God is saying that what he spoke over your life shall come to pass. It shall not be any more delay. It shall not be any more the enemy trying to come up against it, the enemy trying to make it delay. Like, it can't be delayed. God allows for everything to happen the way it has been happening. So don't blame God and don't curse God and don't blame other things for why it still hasn't happened yet. It's always an appointed time. Don't be mad when stuff doesn't happen when you wanted to. A lot of the times we get angry at God because we done told ourselves and souped our own heads up that something is going to happen before its own appointed time and God's own appointed time. So just remember that everything happens the way it should happen, the way it's supposed to happen, when it's supposed to happen. So always remember that, y'all. Always remember that. And I'm going to leave notes of everything, this whole entire message, in the description box so that y'all can read along and go along and probably come back to it, take breaks. I know this is a very long video, so I love y'all. I really do appreciate y'all if y'all watch this whole entire video through. I really do appreciate y'all watching it. I really do appreciate y'all support. I really do also appreciate y'all sewing into the ministry even when I don't ask. I know a lot of the times I kind of just forget. Some of y'all email me and ask me, you know, what's my Cashapp and stuff. I do leave everything in the description box, and I kind of just don't like to ask, but if you do feel led to sew, you can also always do that as well. Like I said before, thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate y'all comments. Y'all nice. Y'all are so nice. Like, I always ask God, like, how did I become so blessed to like have a ministry that's so supportive and so nice? But I really do thank y'all. I do pray over my ministry. So I thank y'all because I am young, and I love the fact that y'all don't use my age as a way to, like, you know, belittle me or say that, you know, I don't know enough, or, you know what I mean? Like, I really do appreciate the fact that y'all really do support what God is calling me to do, and not being judgmental or not condemning. And just, I love the vibes over here. Like, let's just keep the vibes going. Let's uplift each other in the comment section. And also, I love y'all. God loves y'all more, and I can't wait to see y'all in the next video. Peace out.